Daniel stood at the edge of the dusty road, his bare feet pressing into the warm earth as the sun slowly disappeared behind the hills. The evening breeze carried the smell of roasted corn and smoke from nearby kitchens, but Daniel wasn't thinking about food. He was thinking about tomorrow. Tomorrow was the day everything would change, or fall apart. At just 14 years old, Daniel carried more responsibility than most grown men in his village. His father had passed away 3 years earlier after a brief illness, leaving behind Daniel, his younger sister Amara, and their mother, who had never fully recovered from the loss. Since then, Daniel had become the man of the house. Every morning before sunrise, he would fetch water from the stream, prepare a small fire, and help his sister get ready for school. Then he would rush to the roadside market where he sold oranges and groundnuts just to earn enough to keep them going. School had become a luxury he could no longer afford. But Daniel had a dream that refused to die no matter how hard life pressed against him. He wanted to become an engineer. Not just any engineer, he wanted to build roads. Good roads. Roads that would connect villages like his to the rest of the world, so no child would have to walk miles just to find opportunity. But dreams don't feed empty stomachs. And that was the problem. As he stood there that evening, watching the last light fade, he remembered what his teacher had told him earlier that day. Daniel, Mr. Aki had said, placing a hand on his shoulder, you've been selected for a scholarship exam in the city. Daniel had stared at him, confused. A scholarship? Yes, the teacher smiled. If you pass, your education will be fully sponsored. But you must travel tomorrow morning to take the exam. Tomorrow. The word echoed in his mind again. The city was far. The transport fare alone was more money than Daniel had ever held in his hands at once. And even if he somehow got there, what about his family? Who would sell at the market? Who would take care of Amara? Who would make sure their mother ate? Daniel swallowed hard and turned away from the road, heading back toward their small mud house. Inside, his mother sat quietly by the fire, staring into the flames as if searching for something lost long ago. Welcome, Daniel, she said softly without looking up. How was the market? It was okay, he replied, setting down his empty basket. Amara ran to him, smiling. Brother, my teacher said I read the best in class today. Daniel forced a smile and patted her head. That's my girl. But his mind was elsewhere. Later that night, after they had eaten their small meal, Daniel sat outside under the stars. The sky was clear, filled with countless tiny lights that seemed so close, yet so unreachable. Just like his dream. He took a deep breath. God, what should I do? He had never felt so torn. Stay and protect his family, or go and chase a future that could change everything. Hours passed. The village grew quiet. But Daniel couldn't sleep. Finally, he stood up and walked back inside. His mother was still awake. Mama, he began. She looked at him, her eyes gentle but tired. Yes, my son, there is something I need to tell you. He explained everything: the exam, the scholarship, the opportunity. When he finished, silence filled the room. Then his mother spoke. You must go. Daniel blinked. But what about you and Amara? She smiled faintly. We will be fine. No, Mama, you don't understand. I understand more than you think, she interrupted softly. Your father had dreams too. He always said you would go further than he ever did. Daniel's chest tightened. This is your chance, Daniel. Don't let fear take it away from you. But the money. His mother stood up and walked to a small wooden box in the corner. She opened it carefully and brought out a piece of cloth. Inside it was a small amount of money, crumpled notes she had been secretly saving. Daniel's eyes widened. Mama, where did you? I've been keeping this for a time like this. Tears filled his eyes. It's not much, she said, placing it in his hand, but it's enough to get you there. Daniel shook his head. I can't take this. What will you eat? She cupped his face gently. Go and bring us a better tomorrow. That night, Daniel didn't sleep. At dawn, with a small bag and a heart full of hope and fear, he began his journey. The road to the city was long and unfamiliar. The bus was crowded, noisy, and uncomfortable. People shouted, argued, laughed, but Daniel sat quietly, holding his bag tightly. Everything felt overwhelming. When he finally arrived, the city felt like another world. Tall buildings, endless traffic, people moving fast, as if time itself was chasing them. Daniel felt small, lost, but he remembered why he came. After asking for directions several times, he found the examination center. Hundreds of students were there, well-dressed, confident, prepared. Daniel looked down at his worn clothes and felt doubt creep in. Do I really belong here? For a moment, he almost turned back. But then he remembered his mother's words. Go and bring us a better tomorrow. He clenched his fists and walked in. The exam was difficult, very difficult. Some questions felt like they were written in another language. But Daniel didn't give up. He focused. He tried. He fought through every question with everything he had. Hours later, it was over. As he stepped outside, exhaustion hit him. He had no idea if he passed. No idea what would happen next. All he knew was, he had done his best. Days passed. Daniel returned to the village and continued his daily routine, selling at the market, taking care of his family, waiting. Every day, he hoped. Every day, he wondered. Then one afternoon, a letter arrived. It was addressed to him. His hands trembled as he opened it. His eyes scanned the words quickly, then stopped, and filled with tears. Mama, he whispered. I passed. His mother looked at him, confused. What? I passed, Mama. I got the scholarship. Amara screamed with joy and jumped around the room. His mother covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. That day, everything changed. Daniel left for the city weeks later to begin a new life. It wasn't easy. He faced challenges, loneliness, pressure, moments of doubt, but he never forgot where he came from. Years passed. Daniel worked hard, studied harder, and one day, he graduated as one of the best engineering students in his class. But he didn't stop there. He returned to his village, and the first thing he did was begin building the road he had always dreamed of. A road that connected his village to the city. A road that brought opportunities. A road that changed lives. As he stood there, watching people walk and drive on that road for the first time, Daniel smiled, because he realized something. That tomorrow he once feared had finally become today. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. God bless you.